All right, family, welcome back to Veterans for Cannabis. This is Carlos Munoz. It's been about 3 weeks. I want to apologize about that. I got my co-host over here, Jared Campbell. And we've been chatting for a minute. I think we've both been struggling with some physical issues the last few weeks.
It's true.
Yeah, it's been challenging to say the least. But we're back a little different than last week. It's Monday. We're hoping to jump back on Sunday again. But just, today we just want to do a quick video to the point, based on what we have found out, about, the medical cannabis and the article that I presented last week. Um, Also this week, I also want to touch bases on some of the, health issues that I have and how cannabis use some of those, how I have used some of those benefits from cannabis to be able to have a comfortable, or, as comfortable as I can get kind of life. I mean, what do you think, Jay?
Well, I know for myself, I've been using a lot of cannabis here in the last few weeks because a lot of the problems I've been having. I've been getting a lot more of the fibromyalgia flare-ups for some reason, which I'm starting to think is stress induced. But today I'm struggling kind of to walk today.
Mm.
But I'm not allowing it to beat me today. But I think by the end of today I might be done in. So it's what fibromyalgia is. It's like a deep, deep muscle pain, and it just feels like you've inflamed a muscle, like you've done like an extreme workout, but you haven't. And so it's kind of in my lower butt abdomen area.
Mhm.
So it's really hard to walk. So
Like the
yeah,
sciatic area?
yeah, kind of in that area, but it's not the back. It's
Okay.
it's fibro. Because when I go to massage, the way the muscle feels,
Mhm.
and I know when it's fibro, it feels real hot.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. I personally, yeah, I tell you, I get really bad, um, not fibromyalgia, but the same, what did I say? The leg pain, that comes from the back into your butt and goes down.
Yes.
I get really bad of those, and typically you can tell because my leg, instead of walking forward, I go like from the in, you know. I honestly don't know if it's the hip or if it's the nerve. I do have hip issues, but yeah, I do not have fibromyalgia. I heard that is a nightmare, man. So my apologies. For me, what I've been struggling is a lot of abdominal issues. They call it IBS. Some people call it Crohn's disease. Some people call it I'm a pussy. I don't know. You know. Um, But I can tell you, I've been getting a lot of pain in both my gallbladder and my what's the organ? And my I know the organ in the left hand side. I forgot what it's called right now. And although both are normally working, it's not working normally, but it's not to the level where they can take it out or recommend take it out, right? My gallbladder pretty much is not working at full capacity, but because it's not infected or it's not inflamed, they don't take it out, right? And then my pancreas, okay, is highly elevated. Whatever they want to call it, the blood. It's highly elevated, but below the numbers that require surgery. So, it is, I suffer from those pains. I throw up. I got my, intestinal issues. I've been losing a lot of weight, and people say I just look tired. But nobody can figure out nobody can give me a straight answer, and what I do say, and again, I do not push my belief on nobody, but cannabis has been a lifesaver because I can eat, the pain relieves. I mean, it gets to the point where it's unbearable and I gotta go to the ER. And when was it? Saturday was the second time in 3 weeks that I have visited the ER with severe abdominal pain. Uh, but, I do have to say, and this is a daily reoccurrent. This is daily that I throw up or have that, intestinal issues. And again, because the cannabis, allows me to eat, help me with the pain. I also use a lot of ginger products. But the cannabis is the one thing that before I eat, I just smoke a doobie or two on a bong, and I feel good to eat and I eat healthy. I just wake up in the middle of the night and throw it up. This kind of sucks.
Oh, brother, my prayers are with you, my brother.
Appreciate it, man.
You
But
know, I
yeah, yeah. Go ahead, man.
oh no, man, I was listening to you. It was, you know, it's like you and I had almost the same story. I've been having a lot of like abdominal issues as well,
Hmm.
especially in the colon. Even though I just had a colonoscopy,
Yeah. Don't.
they always tell me everything is fine or normal, but I don't think we're fine, and I don't think that things are
Right,
normal. So I wonder what's going on with doctors sometimes
right,
if
right.
they're
And
getting it right, my brother.
yeah, and that's exactly where I'm at. It's like I have done every test on the book. They find stuff, happening, but not serious enough to take action. But I feel like shit every day, and they cannot really figure out why I feel like shit every day when I shouldn't. So I totally feel you, brother. It's something. I don't know what's going on, but it has. And we were joking about it, the hot bottle of water that we drink in Iraq, from the power. You grab a bottle, put it in the cooler, and then drink it a couple of hours down the road. And I'm just listening to a doctor of how bad that is for you. I'm like, well, tell me now. I should have known that like 20 years ago. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
'Cause we all drank those hot water bottles. We all did, my brother. Man,
oh man,
we all did.
yeah. So I tell folks it's a matter of time before I have some kind of cancer and shit like that. But the thing that I'm blessed. I'm blessed because God has not gave me anything that I cannot handle. And he has gave me every tool. Everything around me is a tool that I can use for me to do what I gotta do to live another day, right? I got air, I got water, I got the trees, I got the birds, I got weed, I got everything that I need, and everything comes from the ground, you know, and it's all a gift. So in the end of the day, I'm just blessed.
That's awesome, my brother. That's good stuff.
It could be a lot worse, you know. But
I
going,
think it. Oh, go ahead.
no,
Oh
no,
my.
no, go ahead, because I was going to jump in.
Yeah, no. I was saying. I think that cannabis also gives us a positive attitude
Mhm,
because I also know how, like you were saying, you've touched on this a lot, how our perception changes. And for me, and I know also for you,
mhm,
that it helps us with that positive mindset instead of the negativity that comes sometimes. And so
mhm,
it keeps, I know for me and I know for you, it keeps us positive. It keeps our mind thinking, I know how, I know with me, I like to write. And so
mhm,
the moment I'm starting to feel negative, I go out to the porch, and like you said, we hit the doobie or, we relax. And that's when the negativity starts to change. The stinking thinking I'm getting
mhm.
turns into a positive vibe. And then I'm
Right.
able to go in and start my writing and things like that because then my brain is now slowed down and I'm thinking positive again instead of that thinking that gets all of us, especially
Mhm.
when it's quiet. Our mind starts to wander a little bit. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
And I agree with you too, man. You know, 3, 4 years ago, I was the most uptight sociopath. I'm gonna say just like that. You know, I was reckless, but I was, I was angry. I was just, you know, you know, and I started smoking cannabis, and I developed this thing that I call DGAF. You know what that stands for?
No.
Don't give a fuck. So the DGAF syndrome, that's what I call it, have saved me from getting a heart attack and or being in prison. You know, it's a real thing, man. Who I, like you said, who I was before to who I am now. It's a 180, 180 degree, and I see things differently. I see how beautiful, even the most grayest day, I find something to be thankful, something I haven't seen before. It is so amazing. You know, uh, um, you know, cannabis to me, it just have opened that side of my brain, right? To view life differently, you know. And I tell folks, I do take mental health medication. It is a healthy combination of both, right? But before, mental health medication was just not doing it. It was making it worse to an extent. You know, adding cannabis to that has just changed my perspective. Something I thought that I would never do. I never smoked weed until my adult life. 39 years old, smoking weed for the first time. Isn't something, right? And it just changed who I am, you know. But I do have to say, everything on earth, okay, I don't care what, everything that is good sometimes comes with some bad. Just the way life is, right? Uh, um, but like I tell folks in the politics subject, sometimes you gotta choose the less evil, the one that fits, your well-being the most or your life, and that's what I did. Cannabis again I believe is a gift from God. But the reality, even though it's a gift from God, I still inhale smoke. I still put stuff in my body that arguably, I smoke out of a glass pipe. Who knows what kind of pain? I mean, I'm well aware that I am, switching alcohol, which I believe is going to be a way quicker death for me for pot that makes me feel a lot better and has positive reviews with some negative, right? I mean, if you look at the numbers, you can see, that in comparison, how many DUIs you got from alcohol in comparison to cannabis. You cannot even compare them, right? And why is that? Because we smoke a doobie and we just want to lay down in the couch and eat freaking a pizza. I think our cholesterol would be and our diabetes would be in danger, but not from drinking and driving, you know? And that's an example, that I often give. How you feel about
Yeah. Um. For you want me and how I feel about alcohol? Is that
No,
what you're asking?
I mean overall, about my whole statement.
Oh well, I was going to talk about like when I was listening to you. You know, there can be some negatives with cannabis, and for transparency purposes, I wanted to talk about the one of the negatives that I had. But I don't blame the cannabis for it, other than for my own miscalculation. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
Because when I first started using RSO, that's why I said in one of our segments, I said, don't hit a home run right off the bat, because I was speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Because, when a buddy told me about it and he said he could help with pain, well, what he didn't tell me in return is how much higher the THC content is. So when I went to go buy some and I had my cracker, I just was like, I was I was in a lot of pain, but it ended up I end up because of how much THC I used. It actually had the adverse effect. It created a severe anxiety attack. Does
Mhm.
that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's why there can be some negatives to cannabis. So for transparency purposes, I wanted to share that story, and that's why never hit the home run. I did, and it was
And it's
almost
funny.
a home run.
Yeah.
Regret.
And it's funny
And
that you say that.
yeah, my
Sorry to
own
cut you off.
miscalculation.
Yeah,
Because if
man.
you'd have
It's
seen that day just squirting it out on the cracker, it was like, man, that didn't do that. But it was, I'm in pain. I got to stop the pain, man.
I say it's funny that you say that because I think everybody will go through that experience. Everybody got to figure out what is going to be their limit. And I tell people too, I go like, don't start with like if you start smoking like I do, don't be smoking a whole freaking one and a quarter freaking, I'm doing or a whole bowl. Take it easy, take a couple of hits, give it 10, 20 minutes, see how you feel. Same thing with the gummy. If you got 25 gummy, take half of it, see how you feel. So, but people like me who's not the smartest person on the planet, me, decide to take a whole, what was it, 100 milligrams, see what happens. And yes, I thought I was gonna die. You know, so yeah, don't do that. And I have changed my practice a lot to a lot of microdosing, like especially during the day. But that's a different argument. But I do think everybody got to be aware of their body and the intake, how much they take, and how much they can actually, their body can take versus how much they consume. Um, Edibles, when we make brownies at home, that's one of the worst right there. The feeling of how strong they're gonna be. I made that mistake. So for anybody thinking about making brownies, Google it, okay, 2, 3, 4 times before you decide to do it. Because I'm telling you by experience, it doesn't always work out.
you know, I always like to say, for me, the difference between cannabis and alcohol is one, cannabis is freedom, alcohol was slavery. Because I remember my time in the military, and
Mhm.
because there was one moment where you had my back, and Heather was out of town, and I was out drinking. I don't know if you remember, but you took care of me. And, alcohol was my Achilles heel. But when I was drinking, I always felt trapped, like a slave. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't happy, you know? And so that's why I say the difference is in cannabis, I have the freedom. I'm not,
Mhm.
it's like with cannabis, it's like, I don't have to smoke all day long. You know what I'm saying? There are times where I may smoke more than other days, but if I have nothing to do, then I'll enjoy the porch, but if I'm busy and the
Right.
kids got schoolwork, usually, man, it's afternoon, it's, at night, but I have freedom with cannabis. It's because there's so many ways that we can use cannabis where we have the freedom. It's like what we were talking about before, we're talking about the vape and how the vape pen can be a really good, quick way to get cannabis when you're out and about because the vapes really have no smell. And so if I'm out and about and my anxiety kicks in, that vape pen is like a lifeline for me. It's the really quick way for me to calm those nerves, especially if I get frustrated with somebody. It's like I can kind of walk off and discreetly kind of hit the vape pen, and come
Mhm.
back to the conversation, with that clear level head. And so that's, like I said, that, encouraging other veterans and even other people who listen, like you said, do your research on cannabis. There's so many ways that cannabis can be administered to you, you know, It's you got to find what works for you, right? That's what we were talking about. Find what works for you, right? And yeah,
A couple of days ago, I had an appointment with my psychiatrist. Um, Awesome person, okay? And I've been, since that, I'm losing my dad last year, almost a year from today. I've been getting a lot of anxiety. And typically, when I feel anxious, I hit my pain and it feels better, right? Um, but I'm talking about to my doctor. I go like, look, sometimes I feel like I'm gonna get a heart attack. So I gotta step out, and hide a little bit and take a pen. And she said, well, I can give you volumes, right? And I was like, okay, I take volumes. But some of the science that we were talking about is called the packet, right? The idea of that you have something that I reserve that you can pull anytime, just reduce anxiety. And I think to myself, I go like, well, what if I just keep my pen in my pocket the whole time? But would that, I mean, that sounds like the same ideology. So that is something I'm gonna try. When it comes to alcohol, I'm being trapped. Dude, I gotta agree with you, man. I used to have the shake. If I didn't drink, in a hourly basis, and I was really good on holiday. But I used to get shakes as much pot smoke. I can go days without smoking. I can go on business trips without smoking and I feel perfectly fine. No shakes, nothing. No. I can tell because I'm a little anxious, obviously. But in compared to the alcohol's symptoms, it, I cannot compare them. It's stupid. So I do feel free with cannabis. I feel more in tune with earth than cannabis. I'm with than alcohol. Alcohol used to just get me. I used to have a good time that night, and then for the next 3 nights, I do not want to leave my dark room because I feel like shit. And then, then my head start playing games. It was just a huge cycle that I don't have right now. You know, So, I think we've been talking for a minute. What I want to do is again, I want to open again the door for the next segment. And I do want to touch, I want to bring a little bit of the negativity up to light and talk about what are some of the actual, life and death negative effects that can be presented. Last time we saw, some cardio, some heart stuff, some lung stuff that could happen. But let's compare it to alternates. Okay, let's compare it to alternates because my theory is real simple. And again, if we compare death ratio between weed and oxycodone, even controlled, the numbers are unmatched. From control oxycal, control fentanyl. The things are unmatched. And what I mean control is given to you by the doctors because my dad used to get fentanyl for his pain. And a person that age could easily forget about his taking the first patch, and an hour later take a second patch and he'll die right there. It could be that easy. But the funny part was that he didn't use fentanyl, he would smoke a doobie to the day he died. So he had a collection of fentanyl patches, you know, and that's an example, that I can give how, if known, if, you know, that it's very hard to benefit from because it's some control. I think that's why the government is so against it because it's not narcotics. Narcotics generally are controlled. Weed, I can grow that shit in the back of my house.
Exactly. It can be grown. Like it can't. It's hard to control. So it can grow, man. It's
Right? So, it's like, what is the real evil right here? The money or the time? And that's ultimately, where my brain goes.
part of me. I have a theory that they know what it can do for health benefits, and that's what worries them.
I mean,
Yep.
cancer is a perfect example. How many people have used cannabis to shrink their tumor? Right
Yep.
now, offhand, I can think of three cases that went natural, viral, right now, you know, and it's like, what if that is a cancer cure? How much money? How about AIDS cure? People in AIDS gotta stay in medication for the rest of their life. What if we can, do a better, do that? But unless it's federally, federally legal, it's raising the category. We cannot research at least, federally aimed, federally funded research on it. And I think that's a shame.
Yeah, I've seen research where they've done on different terpenes that could slow down Alzheimer's and dementia, and I thought that was fascinating stuff we could talk about on here too.
Yeah.
You know, that is something I wish more money would go into because I have a lot of family members, and so does Heather, that have suffered from dementia and Alzheimer's. So it would be cool to see more research put in that department. You know, for cannabis
Uh,
helping people.
yeah, I totally agree.
It's,
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's so much that can be done, with that. I really hope, they'll get the shit together and actually do what's better for the community versus what's better for their big donors, because I think that's what money's going.
oh
So
yeah.
it is what it is. I do, let's cut it here because I know you have a busy day. I'm still feeling kind of funny, but let's talk about this next week. Okay, let's see if we can invite a veteran, a few of the veterans,
Yep.
um, on the subject. Okay, okay,
That's, that sounds good for me. That'd be
all
awesome.
right,
We get more on here. Oh yeah.
yeah. Oh, so let's do that, man. Okay, everybody have a great day. Have a green day. Be St. Patrick's. All right, we're gonna celebrate a little different today. Instead of green beer, we're gonna call it green weed.
Green weed. There we go.
All right. So happy St. Patrick. Please be safe. Don't do nothing I would do. Um,
Yep.
you know, uh, again, stay safe. And God bless.
Love you all so much. Thank you all for the love and support. Thank you so
Peace.
much. All right, guys.
Okay.
Out.